Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Ryan's professional movie review show. My name is Ryan Henderson, and I am a professional movie watcher. And today, we are going to be... pardon me. Today, we are going to be talking about Denis Villeneuve's new film, Dune. And we have brought a special guest on for today's show. Would you like to introduce yourself today?
Yes, thank you for having me. I am Rioma Scott. I am a amateur movie watcher. Very thankful to be on the show today. Thank you, Ryan. Let's get into it.
No worries at all. We're very thankful to have you, Rioma. Now, we're going to start today's show off with a trailer watch and then go into some questions that some fans have for you. But first off, I'd like to know, do you have any experience with Dune? You said you haven't seen it, but do you have any hopes for it?
Well, I definitely hope that it stays faithful to the book because I haven't actually read the book either, but I know that movies that usually stick to the original script end up really well. So I hope, and also hope for Dune fans who have read the book that this really brings it to life. And yeah, I hope it's a good watch.
All right. Well, why don't we get right into the trailer watch then and see what you have to say about that. Rioma, do you have it pulled up on your screen?
Yes, I do.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Let's start.
There's something happening to me. There's something awakening in my mind. I can't control it.
What did you see?
There's a crusade coming.
Do you often dream things that happen just as you dreamed them?
Yes.
The test is simple. Remove your hand from the box, and you die.
What's in the box?
Pain. You inherit too much power. You have proven you can rule yourself. Now you must learn to rule others. Something none of your ancestors learned.
My father rules an entire planet.
He's losing it.
He's getting a richer one.
He'll lose that one too. Arrakis is a death trap.
I'll kill him. This is an extermination. They're picking my family off one by one.
Let's fight like demons.
An animal caught in a trap will gnaw off its own leg to escape. What will you do?
I know you.
One day, the legend will be born. All of civilization depends on it.
The future. I can see it. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer.
Hello, Duke.
Where the fear is gone, only I will remain.
Go, go, go!
I absolutely love that trailer. I get goosebumps every time I see it, even after watching the movie.
Really, really well done.
What did you think of it? Any of your favorite parts? Any parts stick out? Any part you want to know more about?
I was really curious about the end there, where the guy bowed down to, I think, the actor Timothy Chalamet. I want to know what's going to happen with him in that movie, and I was also really curious about that worm. It looked pretty crazy around the end there.
Yeah, the sandworms are one of my favorite parts of the film. Just everything they do with them is so... the visual effects are astounding. And actually, that leads into one of our questions, so why don't we jump right into the first one? A viewer asks, what do you think of Zendaya only being in a short amount of the movie, despite being featured heavily in the marketing?
I think it is a classic case of clickbait, but I think that it'll work for marketing, because obviously this movie is like sci-fi, cinematic. That's one audience. Zendaya's audience is a whole another aspect. It's probably mostly like teenage girls and stuff like that. So I think having her as the kind of being featured in the trailer, I think that'll attract a lot more varying audiences, and it'll be good for the numbers for this movie. So
No, I completely agree with you. I know my brother's not a big sci-fi fan, but when I was younger, I always caught him watching Shake It Up, so he probably would check it out just for her. Our second question we have for you, what do you think of abrupt endings? Now, the trailer didn't show it, but Dune is a part 1 of 2. They split the book up into 2 movies. So what do you think of films that have done this in recent years? The Harry Potter final movie comes to mind.
yeah.
Even Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah. I think that if it ends abruptly, there needs to be enough in the actual movie to like allow them to do that, because you can't just end it and then leave people with like wondering what to expect and they don't know what's gonna happen next, or they're like, is that it? I think there needs to be a really strong amount of content in the first movie, such as like Infinity War, for example. It was, crazy fighting, crazy story, people were dying everywhere, and then at the end it's like, wait, but what's gonna happen?
Yes.
I hope this movie does that really well, if there's going to be a part 2, or I really hope there is a part 2, because I've heard that a lot of people thought it ended abruptly and they want to know what happens next. So I'm not a huge fan of the clickbait and like the kind of having a first movie as a trailer for a part 2, but I think Dune can pull it off, so I'm excited.
Having read the book, I think that splitting this movie up was needed. There is quite a lot of content in there, and they did a pretty good job covering the first part of the book with this film, and hopefully the second part doesn't fall into the same pitfalls that the 80s film did. That's my opinion on it. Our third question for you, Ryoma. What do you think of the state of visual effects in 2021? Now, this film is at the forefront. It is absolutely gorgeous to watch. I personally really love the sandworms and how they look in this movie. What about you? Is there any examples of visual effects that you really enjoyed that you've seen lately?
This year, I can say Shang-Chi really blew me away for special effects, because at the beginning there's that fight in the bus stop, and even though a lot of it's like hand-to-hand combat, just the bus, no spoilers, but the bus like gets destroyed and this and that, and then there's the rings, and just I find it really, it's such a step up from even 2 or 3 years ago. I remember Interstellar, even though it's probably like 7 years ago, Interstellar really set the bar for visual effects, and being that that's almost 10 years ago, I think movies have really caught up, and I think special effects is really going to amaze people. It's gonna seem like, it won't even seem like special effects anymore. People are gonna think movies are real. So I'm really impressed with this year's special effects.
I am as well, and I'm only excited to see what's coming forward in the future years as well. I know Avatar 2 is boasting their underwater CGI, and I'm very excited to see how that turns out. And we don't want to keep you all day. We have one last question for you, Ryoma. Awesome. What would you like to see in Dune Part 2? Anything in particular?
I'd like to see the development of the characters. I noticed in the trailer, like I mentioned before, there was a guy bending down to the main character, I guess his name's Paul, saying, like, my Duke. So at the beginning it seemed like he was just a regular, well, not a regular, probably like a soldier being trained for some greatness. I really want to see how his character develops in the second movie, and I hope to see a lot more of the worms, because it seemed like that was teased around the ending. So I hope there's a lot more worm action in the second movie.
Worm action is always needed. It makes the movie better. Thank you so much for your insights on the trailer and for joining us on the show today, Ryoma. Before you leave, would you like to plug yourself quickly?
Of course, yeah. Follow me on Instagram at ryoma._, no caps, no spaces, for some amazing content. And thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
No worries at all, Ryoma. We hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you guys so much for watching today's episode of Ryan Henderson's Professional Movie Review Show. Before we leave, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone who worked on this. The producers for today's show were myself and Fallon. I'd like to say thank you for all the help she did on today's show. Thank you very much for Ryoma Scott for joining us today and being such a wonderful guest. He was a pleasure to have. And thank you very much for Fallon for doing the graphics for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Get out there and go watch some good movies. Take care.